All right, it is now 7 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started. So welcome and thank you again for taking the time to join the City of Kingston's engagement session for the Rodden Park playground improvements. My name is Nancy Knight. I'm a communications officer for the City of Kingston, and I will be moderating tonight's session. Behind the scenes, we also have Julia Morbin, who will be acting as our technical producer this evening. So before we get started and I introduce the panel, we do have a couple of housekeeping items to share. First off, this session is live streamed to YouTube and recorded. So to protect your privacy, all participants have their video turned off and have been muted, and the chat functionality in Zoom is turned off. Next is that we know that sometimes technology troubles can happen. There is a list of common challenges on Get Involved Kingston, including what to do if your audio or video aren't working. Please note that you are able to adjust your view options so that you can see both the presentation and the members of the project team at the same time. If for some reason your internet connection does go down, you can call into the meeting using the number on the screen. So please write it down just in case. The number is 613-453-5818, and the webinar ID is 848-9846-2337. You can also follow live on YouTube, where this session is closed caption. We are going to do our best to help you with any technical problems, but sometimes the easiest way to resolve issues is to log out of Zoom and then rejoin the meeting. You can do that using the link you received in the registration confirmation email you used to join tonight. So today we're going to provide a question and answer period following our presentation. If you have a question at any point during the presentation, you can use the Q&A feature, but we will hold those questions until we reach that question period. The Q&A feature can be found on the bar across the bottom of your screen. To ask a question, simply type into that question area. You're also welcome to raise your hand to speak and ask a question during the Q&A. To do this, please use the raise hand function that can be found by following these steps. Click on the Q&A, a pop-up will appear. There will be multiple options. Choose the raise hand function. So I'm going to be monitoring for this, and I will acknowledge you and then turn on your microphone so you can ask a question or make a comment. If you're calling in tonight and would like to raise your hand, press star 9. So on your screen, you should see the guidelines for participation. If you've joined us before for an engagement session, they might look familiar to you. These guidelines for participation were developed as part of the city's public engagement framework and to make sure that we can all join together and be respectful and open to ideas. So I'm going to leave this up on your screen for about 30 seconds so that you have the opportunity to read them. If you have any concerns about the guidelines to participation, please let me know by using the raise hand function. Okay, thank you. Seeing no objections to the guidelines for participation, we will proceed into this online engagement session following these guidelines. I'm now going to pass this presentation over to Shanda Sames, who is the Parks and Open Space Coordinator.
Thanks, Nancy. As Nancy mentioned, I'm the Parks and Open Space Coordinator. In attendance tonight, we also have Neil Unsworth, Manager of Parks and Shoreline, Alex Forbes, who's our consultant with Wentworth Landscapes, and of course, Nancy Knight, our Communication Officer and Moderator for tonight. And we'd like to extend a special welcome to Councillor Amos for attending our meeting tonight. This evening's virtual meeting is to introduce the proposed playground replacement for aging play equipment at Rodden Park. To start it off, I'll hand it over to Alex to provide an overview of our proposal.
All right. Flip to the next slide. Perfect. Thank you, Shanda, for the introduction. And thank you everyone for joining us this evening to discuss the new Rodden Park playground replacement. As Shanda mentioned, my name is Alex Forbes, and I'm a landscape designer for Wentworth Landscapes in Picton. And we have been servicing the greater Prince Edward County and Kingston region for over 30 years, designing and building multiple parks, playgrounds, trail systems, memorial gardens, and high and low residential landscape amenities. Tonight, I'm excited to present our two design concepts for Rodden Park located in the south end of Kingston. Next slide. Here is a map of where Rodden Park is located. The park is 2 blocks west of Sir John A. Macdonald and 2 blocks north of Johnson Street, close to Centennial Public School and St. Thomas More Catholic School. The existing play equipment in the park is to be replaced by the options I am presenting you tonight. Images of the existing old structures can be seen on the right side of the slide. The role of this park renovation will be to provide a safe and a highly accessible place for children and local residents to recreate, relax, and enjoy the outdoors. The park will also be designed according to the Annex H accessibility guidelines, which ensures that all new construction playgrounds are accessible for every child, ensuring all children can have fun when they visit the park. The guideline considers all types of play, such as creative and cognitive play, physical play, and quiet retreat play, as well as social play. On the following slide, I will show you the new layout of the playground that we have developed alongside the City of Kingston, and I will also be presenting different play equipment options for the park. After the presentation has been completed, you can visit the City of Kingston Get Involved platform, where you will have the opportunity to fill out an online survey regarding this park. As Nancy mentioned, there will also be a Q&A period at the end of this presentation as well. This is the proposed layout for Rodden Park. As mentioned, the existing play structure and swing set are to be removed, and the new playground area will combine the new structures into one play area instead of 2 separate spaces. We are proposing a 2-meter wide asphalt pathway network that provides 3 separate entry points to the park. This path will be less than 5% in slope, making it accessible to people with mobility challenges. And it will be wide enough for 2 directions of pedestrian traffic. The playground is located in the center of the park and has 2 seating areas adjacent to it. These are concrete pads, with 1 bench per pad and a raised curb at the back of the pads for accessible seating. The seating areas face the playground so parents can watch their children play. The playground is located to the east of the pathway, and there is a concrete rolled curb, barrier-free entry to the playground. The playground safety surfacing is made from engineered wood fiber. The layout maintains the open lawn area to the east of the playground, which can be used for more active recreation, such as throwing a ball or frisbee or playing pickup soccer. And now I'm going to show you the 2 play equipment options to choose from for the new playground. The play equipment proposed for option 1 consists of 1 large play structure with multiple play elements and a double base swing set. As I mentioned earlier, the play equipment chosen meets the recommended accessibility requirements as stated by the Annex H guidelines. The play structure includes play elements such as a double scoop slide, which encourages group play and racing potential. There are inclined floating stepping pods, which are hanging by chains so they wobble around as children step from pod to pod. The floating steps connect to a circular overhead monkey bar system, as well as a tri-spinner. And there are 2 climbing ladders on either side of the structure, which connect to the main platform. On the top platform, there's an educational fairy game panel that teaches children how to count while competing against a friend to see who can reach the end first. And there's also a Play Store counter and a race car panel at the base of the structure, so children can use their imaginations and play coffee barista or pretend to be a race car driver. And there's also a transfer station at the one end of the structure. The double base swing set includes 2 belt seats, 1 baby seat swing, and 1 accessible bucket swing. And now I'm going to present the second option for the play equipment. The play equipment proposed for option 2 consists of 1 large play structure with multiple play elements and the same double base swing set as option 1. As I mentioned earlier, the play equipment chosen meets the recommended accessibility requirements as stated in the Annex H guidelines. The play structure shown on the left provides a multitude of play elements. It has a double scoop slide, which encourages group play and racing potential. It also offers 4 separate ways to reach the platform from the ground. The first being a traditional set of accessible stairs. Second and third being a twisting and undulating ladder to increase the difficulty level. And the last being a miniature rock wall to simulate the ever-challenging feat of climbing a real rock wall. The structure also offers an imaginative cartoon art panel and games that can be reached from the ground. And that's option 2. And if we flip to the final slide, you can see the new playground layout on the left and the equipment options I presented side by side, and the swings are identical in both options. After I pass it back to Nancy, you will be able to ask any questions you may have about either option, and a survey will be made available on the City of Kingston Get Involved platform for you to choose which park layout you prefer, to choose which play equipment you prefer. Thank you very much for listening, and now I'm going to hand it back to Nancy to kick off the Q&A period.
Thank you, Alex. So as Alex said, we're going to move into our question and answer session. So to join the conversation, you're welcome to add your questions into that Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and I will read them out loud for our team to answer. You're also welcome to raise your hand. I'll be watching for this, and I will acknowledge you and let you know when it's time to unmute and ask your question. If for some reason we don't get to all of the questions tonight, please know that we will answer all of those questions on our Get Involved Kingston project page. There will also be access to a survey opportunity that you can complete before March 2nd to share any additional comments you might have. This survey is available on that project page as well. All right, we can go ahead and get started. The first question here is from Josephine. They have asked if there's any chance of including a splash pad. So Shanda, can you take that one?
The scope of our project tonight is to replace the aging playground replacement. Splash pad is not currently part of the proposal, but there is a Park and Rec master plan that was approved 2 years ago that does identify splash pad, but it's currently not really in this area for inclusion. There is the southwest area of the city that has been identified more a need for distribution of splash pad.
Thank you, Shanda. I do see a raised hand as well. Sheila, if you'd like to go ahead, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yes, hello, it's actually Francine. There are 2 of us. We had both signed up, not realizing the other had done it. The question would be, is twofold. One, what's being done where currently the park gets very waterlogged? So how is that going to be dealt with? I appreciate the pathways are fantastic for that. What else is being done? And if children fall, what's the base plan? Is it the plasticky type? What's the base area? Because there are also a lot of dogs in the area.
All right, thank you for your question. Alex, would you like to take that?
Sure, I can take that. Thanks for the question. As you said, the pathway network definitely helps that maneuverability around the park and avoiding those wet spots, but we'll also be revising the grading plan for the park as well. So we'll be sheeting water to the correct areas that aren't going to puddle as much as they do now. And to answer your second question, the play surface, yeah, it's an engineered wood. So it's not that plasticky. It's loose, but it's manufactured.
Thank you, Alex.
It was when children fall, what are they landing on?
Oh, they'll be landing on it's like
an
like
engineered
fake wood.
fiber.
Yeah, it's like fake wood.
Okay, so the next question here is from Carissa. They have asked if there is an option to include a basketball net, which will appeal to older kids. Shanda, would you like to take that one? Alex, feel free to jump in as well.
As I mentioned, this project is to replace the aging play equipment. There currently isn't really enough budget. We can consider it.
Thank you, Shanda. There is another question here about the drainage, so I'm going to read this out loud. This is from Kristen. They have said there has always been a drainage problem at the park, and when it rains, there are huge puddles, and in the winter, a significant patch of ice. Will the work address and solve this issue? Alex, if you'd like to jump in and comment again on this one.
Yep, I'll just say thanks, Kristen, for the question. As I mentioned earlier, yes, the new grading plan will address these issues.
Thanks, Alex. I do see another raised hand here from Luke and Zoe. Please go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
It's Liam, and can we please have a seesaw?
Thank you,
Thank
Liam.
you,
Shanda,
Liam.
would you like to?
Yes, we can consider it. There is a survey afterwards that to provide any feedback. So you're welcome to include that, but we will make note of this seesaw. Thank you.
Thanks, Liam. I see another raised hand here from Councillor Amos. Please go ahead.
Liam, I love the question. It's nice to see you participating. Well done. A quick question for the staff, and I forgot to ask this for the Garrigan Park retrofit. What's the timelines on both parks?
We anticipate construction later this year, probably closer to the fall.
So we're looking at September potentially, or October?
Yes, later this fall, we would probably put it out for tender for construction, and at that time, it might, depending on the timing, it might be either later this year or early spring start.
And are both parks being tendered at the same time? Would it?
Yes.
Look, I'm looking at if there's ways to save costs so that potentially a seesaw could be added, that would be beneficial.
Thank you. Yes, yes, we are considering to tender these all at the same time for efficiency.
And what is the age range for the existing or the structure that is being presented? What's the age range?
The optimal age range is between ages 5 and 12.
Okay. So you can see the question that Liam answered or asked, that there is a need for some younger equipment, and the Garrigan Park addressed that a little bit, but it would be great if the committee would consider some equipment for the younger age group as well. I appreciate the staff efforts. It looks both look really good. I like A as opposed to B, but my time playing on equipment has come and gone. So I have grandkids that will enjoy that.
All right, thank you for your questions and your comments. The next question we have here is from Josephine. They have asked, if the proposed tiny homes or shelters are placed in Rodden Park, would they be side by side with this proposed new play structure? So I'll ask Shanda or even Neil if you want to take this one.
Sorry, I can't really answer that. I'm not involved in the project.
Yeah, thanks, Shanda. I will say that staff in one wing of the city do speak to staff in another wing of the city. So we did reach out to the housing department prior to scheduling this public meeting to confirm if they had any information about that initiative. And at the time of scheduling this meeting and up until as recently as yesterday, they don't have any information about the specific details of the plans of a potential tiny homes pilot in this location. So I think we'll have to defer the question to the housing department, but we can definitely get someone to connect back with you, and we'll just keep track of your name and follow up offline. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question we have here is from Sonia. They have asked, does Kingston envision creating community playgrounds that serve all community members and that they can access all ages? Structures for seniors, workout zones, etc., surrounding kids' play zones. Familiar with playgrounds such as this in Vancouver and Victoria. Shanda, would you like to jump on that?
Well, this playground is more of a neighborhood park for neighborhood. I don't know, Neil, if you could.
Yeah, sure. So the way I understand the question is actually more if the city is doing outdoor exercise equipment that adults or older adults would be able to use. And if so, could that be done in this location? So the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, which is kind of our guiding document about where we invest public funds from in the parks case, outdoor recreational perspective, does identify that outdoor exercise equipment is a priority. In fact, council approved 3 new installations of outdoor exercise equipment across the city, but no more. Now we have to decide where to put those 3 installations, and it is likely that they will occur in the East End and in the West End and probably somewhere in the central area. The timeline for those installations is later than the playground. So when we do get around to having that budget approved, we'll consider Rodden Park as a possible location for outdoor exercise equipment, but it won't be included as part of this project at this time. Thanks.
Thanks, Neil. So we have another couple questions from Liam. So the first one is it possible to replace a bench with a picnic table as local schools attend the park for snacks and lunch? Shanda, would you like to answer that one?
Sure. Thanks, Liam. Yes, we can consider it. We also will be taking into consideration other people's comments as well. So thanks, we will consider it.
Thanks, Shanda. And the next question from Liam is, can one of the slides in option 1 be a roller slide to add another option? Alex, did you want to take that one, or Shanda?
Yes, we'll take it into consideration and we'll discuss with our manufacturer if it's possible to add another structure or other element to that without impacting the structure too much.
And the next question here is from Carissa. They have said the first option has monkey bars. There is a wide range in the neighborhood, and it would be wonderful to have something for the older kids, such as monkey bars. Would it be possible to add a basketball net to the building behind the park? Is that building in use, and is it a city property? Shanda or Neil, did you want to jump in on that one?
The building you're referring to, I think you might be referring to, it is a city building. It's used for staff, I believe. But I guess the scope of our project is to replace the playground equipment. It's not in our scope currently for basketball. But we'll take it into consideration for future.
Yeah, thanks, Shanda. And there was a question about the monkey bars, and I did want to draw attention to the circular monkey bar climber in, I think it's option 1. It's actually a really popular element for slightly older kids, as they can get up on top of it and actually sit and kind of have a little gathering, 2 or 3 kids, and you'll often see that social interaction at that sort of 9 to 11 year bracket And it's a little bit of an advanced climbing experience for monkey bars. So I think that element might be attractive from that perspective.
All right, thank you. We do have another question here from Kristen. They have asked, with the new plans, will any trees at the park need to be cut down or displaced? There are a lot of trees with dedications and plaques. Alex, would you like to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for your question. No, no existing trees will need to be cut down. The pathway network is planned to weave between them and leave them in place as they've started to establish themselves. We will do everything we can to leave them in their place. If the pathways get a bit too close to them and we're worried that it might disrupt their root zone, there's options to transplant trees and shift them slightly away from the path, and that'll just give them a better future in general, and there's hardly any harm to the tree during that transplant process.
Thanks, Alex. So not seeing any more open questions here, but we'll just pause for a moment in case you're thinking about something. Please don't be shy. Drop that question into the Q&A or raise your hand. All right, not seeing any other questions coming in here, so I will bring us over to our last slide tonight. Thank you so much to everybody for participating tonight. Before you sign off, I would ask you to complete a brief evaluation poll just to let us know how we did tonight. And while that poll is up, I have a couple more notes to cover. The first is that, as you have heard tonight, we are inviting you to visit Get Involved Kingston to add your comments to an online survey that will be available until March 2nd at 4 p.m. Next is that input from this engagement session and that survey will be shared on the Get Involved project page. So if you have already signed up to receive updates about this project, you'll be notified when it's live on the site. And if you haven't signed up to receive notifications, please reach out to Shanda and ask to be added to that project list. Thank
Nancy,
you.
I think there was another question that came in.
Oh, wonderful. The question or comment is from Carissa, and they have said, although it is not in the plan, a skating rink would be well loved. Shanda, would you like to comment on that?
Skating rinks right now for any new ones would be a community run rink. So if the community wanted to run and operate one, they're welcome to submit it to the Rec and Leisure Department for consideration.
Thank you, Shanda. If you do have any more questions or comments like that, please go ahead, send us an email to let us know or complete that survey on Get Involved Kingston. And when you have finished up that poll, that will be it for tonight. So thank you again, everybody, for taking the time to join us.